I'm Kerry Fink with Helping Seniors of Brevard, and it's time for Helping Seniors Updates. And you're going to really enjoy what we have to talk about today, because this is a fun part of what we get to do. There's so much serious work that we're doing as a charity operating the county senior information helpline now into our 12th year of service here, 100% local in Brevard County. And then we do a lot of, as you know, education and media to try to inform seniors and their families about the best way to approach aging. And so between publishing in Senior Scene magazine and doing daily TV programs 3 times a day, airing on Space Coast Government TV and our weekly radio show on 90.3 WEJF FM, we're always trying to get information in the hands of seniors in a way that's going to improve their lives. Well, this is something I think that if you're able to take advantage of, will also improve your life, because this is actually one of the fun things we get to talk about. It is the Helping Seniors Travel Club. And as a 501c3 nonprofit, you're actually helping to fund the work of helping seniors when you book travel through the Helping Seniors Travel Club. And even though it says it's a travel club, it doesn't cost anything to join. It's just what we decided because it's a community. We all like to go traveling. And one of the most fun things we get to do is we get to have our 2nd annual Helping Seniors Foundation Cruise. So it's actually a couple of cruises, right? We're going to sail January 6th right here out of our home port, Port Canaveral. And we have a 2-night sailing. So it's like a great weekend. We get to spend the weekend, a whole day there at Ocean Cay, MSC Cruise Line's private island. And it's just going to be a fun time on board. Lots and lots and lots of healthcare, senior care providers are going to be joining us. So it's really going to be kind of like a networking cruise at the same time. It's just going to be a fun weekend. But then when the ship gets back, we are all going to take off on a 7-night cruise. And that's a Bahamas, Mexico cruise. And we're going to have a great time. And a lot of people are just signing up for both. They're going to come with us for all 9 days. But the cool thing is, on the 7-night portion of our journey, we have a very special musical guest, and so privileged and honored to welcome none other than Lorri. I'd like to teach the world to sing Hafer. Hello, Lorri. How are you?
Hi, Kerry. Hi, Brevard County. We are so excited.
It's gonna be terrific. And let me also introduce your amazing husband, who is like the doctor of the keyboards. I call him Dr. Mike, but his name is Mike Hafer, and he really is excellent on the keyboards. And so,
license, by the way.
Sorry,
I never got my license.
Oh, so you're an unlicensed keyboardist. Okay, you've been fairly warned, but it won't make any difference when you hear him play, folks. So listen, the thing is, we've been friends for decades, and we have had the opportunity literally to cruise around the world. And every time that we've gotten on a ship and had the opportunity to, and the blessing to have Lorri and Mike Hafer on board, they quickly become like the favorites of the ship. And because you need to know a little bit about Lorri, why I said, Lorri, I'd like to teach the world to sing Hafer, is because you and your mom were part of a singing group that had a worldwide hit. The group was called the Hillside Singers. Most people call it the Coca-Cola song, but the actual title is I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing. And you were one of the, yes, and you were like the perfect guys to bring that to pass, and it was a wonderful worldwide hit. Not only that, though, Lorri, your background is that of a big band singer. You had traveled the world with great bands. You've sung with Glenn Miller Orchestra. You've sung with Buddy Morrow and the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra. You've been on stage working around the world with Les Brown and the Band of Renown. In fact, you were part of their show that they had for a number of years there in Branson. And not only that, then you guys are a terrific jazz combo and really just do some of the standards and things that people love to hear and they love to dance to. Talk a little bit about the music that you guys do.
We have been blessed. We're big fans of the music of the 30s and 40s and early 50s, some 60s, big band, jazz, Gershwin, Cole Porter, Irving Berlin, great composers like that, Harold Arlen. And we look forward to sharing our music with you. We do that quite a bit around our neighborhood, the Tampa Bay area of Florida. We're on the other coast, and we've been able to do that. But we've also been on the East Coast near you guys. We worked Heidi's for a couple of times on Cocoa Beach, and we work for the Space Coast Jazz Society, Sarasota Jazz Society, Hernando Jazz Society, and Al Downing's Tampa Bay Jazz Society. So
yeah, we get around.
We get around.
Yes.
so you guys play a lot on the West Coast. I know you played with the Hernando County Jazz Society, and you were naming also a number of the different folks that you played with over the years. But you've also been actually East Coast favorites. Granted, not since COVID was kind of locked us in our respective corners, but you've been playing at like Heidi's Jazz Club. And there's a great thing that you guys helped us with many, many years ago in our corporate world. We had a great show. Remember at the King Center that we did Music of Your Life, and it was fantastic. And there's some really great footage out from that show that I didn't even know existed, but we got it right there on. We'll make sure there's links to it so people can find some of those great things that you did together with one of our favorite people in the whole wide world. Was Herb Oscar Anderson, the New York City. And what a gentleman he was. But you know, the music always goes on. And one of the things that was really great, we found a clip. We actually put it up. If you go to helpingseniorstravelclub.com, you'll see it's actually you. I call him Dr. Mike, and actually your son playing bass, Paul Hafer playing bass. This was when you guys were working with Les Brown and the Band of Renown out in Branson. And it's a great clip of Route 66. So people
that was fun.
Yeah, if people want to get an idea of what kind of a great act they're going to see on board the ship, you're going to go right there and you're going to enjoy that. Talk a little bit about your experience touring, because you've worked with some really big artists along the way and had some really unique experiences in your career, Lorri.
What a great blessing it's been. Honestly, you mentioned Herb Oscar Anderson. I grew up listening to Herb Oscar in New York City on WABC, and to be able to sing with him and sing with a big band with him, just what a blessing. You know, singing with Buddy Morrow with the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra, Les Brown and Branson, like I said, awesome times, real great blessings. And I've been very fortunate. And, you know, really the Hillside Singers, of course, way back. That was great with I'd Like to Teach. And we did a show, and I don't know if they might be able to post it on board. I know we did that a while ago. I have clips from the PBS special that we did with the Hillside Singers, several of them. Yeah, that we did. I'd Like to Teach. And it was part of, I can't remember the name of the title, but it was done in Pittsburgh at that beautiful theater.
Yeah. It's really impressive because, you know, your dad was a really famous guy too, Al Hamm, that we had the privilege of knowing and working together with corporately in an organization called the Music of Your Life, which I think to some degree is still around today. But the point of it is it really embodied the spirit of the greatest music of all time. And so, you know, I've heard people call it the Great American Songbook. I've heard people call it the Standards, but it is music that just everybody knows and loves. And that's what you guys bring to the ship. And it's just going to be such a fun, we're planning to do some things where you guys are part of some cocktail parties, some before dinner dancing. And, you know, there's already so much entertainment on the ship. It's not like you would go.
They don't really need us. That's true.
Right. But what we've discovered is every time you guys get on board, people have such a wonderful, wonderful time to get to know you. And it's always fun to sit down. We've done radio shows at sea before and things like that. It's always fun to talk about some of the behind the scenes stories, because you grew up, like I said, with a very famous father who produced, you know, Johnny Mathis, Tony Bennett. He was involved in all those big careers. And so it was not unusual for you to have Burt Bacharach over for dinner or something like that.
I know, and especially Bert's parents. But one time Burt Bacharach almost babysat me. Almost. I know. That's another story for another time.
So folks, when you come on the Helping Seniors Travel Club cruise, you're going to do a bunch of things. You're going to help us financially, because a portion of the proceeds MSC gives back to help us fund the work that we do as a nonprofit. Number two, you're going to have a great cruise because you're cruising with local people. So, you know, it's always going on a cruise is great. You meet all your friends, you make great friends, and then you have to go become Facebook friends because they're flying back to, I don't know, California or Illinois or someplace like that. And then you stay friends by Facebook and you're all trading notes about the next cruise. What's great about this is you're sailing with people from Brevard. So as you make friends, you can go, hey, let's have lunch next Wednesday. It's about the best.
So great. Yeah.
It's about the best that there is. And so then on top of all that, Chris has negotiated a deal that you have to get in on. And I'm going to try to explain this because if you know anything about cruise pricing, you will understand this offer doesn't last. In fact, I was talking with Chris recently, and he said, Kerry, the deadline is October 14th. He said, we may be able to extend it, but that will be at the cruise line's discretion. So what I'm going to tell you is good up through October 14th. But listen, if you ever gone online and looked at a cruise, they always give you some really low price. Like you can go for $400 for 7 nights. You think that's great. And then you click it. And then they say, oh, let's put your port charges and gratuities in there, or port charges and taxes. I'm sorry. So there's another couple of hundred. And then they remind you when you get on the ship, they're going to ask you for the gratuities, which is usually like $15 a day or something like that per person. And then, of course, when you get on board the ship, you'd have to buy a Wi-Fi package in addition, if you wanted to stay connected or maybe send pictures back from your cruise. And then most of us, if we wanted to have, whether it's an alcoholic beverage or it's just a soda, all those things, water, tea, lemonade, and stuff like that is all included. But anytime you want an additional beverage, then that goes on your account. So you could find yourself paying, $8, $9, $10 to get, a mixed drink or something like that on the ship. And so Chris was able to negotiate a drink package. And if you've been cruising, you know that those are normally like $35 or $40 a day, because they figure somebody's going to get 2 or 3 beverages, maybe more. And so they're trying to, work that into their model. Chris negotiated every bit of what I just told you about. He negotiated the cruise fare. He negotiated the taxes, the government fees, the administrative fees. He included the gratuity, so you won't get charged for that when you get on board. He's prepaid your Wi-Fi, so you're not going to have to pay for that when you get on board. He's included the drink package. And if that wasn't enough, he's been able to get the cruise line to give everybody in our group a balcony cabin at what really amounts to inside cabin rates. So now, if you're looking at the 7-night cruise, you can join us, the entire Helping Seniors team, and Lorri and Mike Hafer, our special musical guests, and lots of people from Brevard County. And all it is $864 per person, including everything we just talked about. And on top of that, you're helping to fund the work of Helping Seniors. So this is a great deal. So you want to get in touch with Chris Morse at the Helping Seniors Travel Club. And we're going to put up, we've been putting up on the screen, HelpingSeniorsTravelClub.com is one way to reach us. And then you can also reach us via Nancy Deerdorf, our operations director, just by calling the Helping Seniors helpline at 321-473-7770. And she'll make sure that you get a call back from Chris Morse or Betty Powers, and they will get you connected to answer all the questions. That's another thing, Lorri and Mike, remember in the days when we were traveling kind of corporately with the Music of Your Life banner and things like that, back in those days, you had a travel agent. So if you ran into a problem, you could talk to them and they could help sort it out. One of the things you don't get when you book online is you get to call 1-800 and you're the 91st caller and your approximate wait time is 4 days and all that. Here, Chris and Betty are on board the ship with us. And what we saw in the first Helping Seniors Travel Club cruise, which was a great success, we sailed last year on MSC's Divina, what a blessing that was to have them on board. Somebody would come down and say, I was looking at my account on screen, I'm not sure about this charge. So they didn't have to go down and stand in that long line in front of the ship's office. They were just able to hand that piece of paper to Chris or Betty, and they went, because they could go straight up the command chain and get it solved at the top. So having your own personal travel agent, not only helping you get the travel done, but also being there on the ship with you to make sure everything goes smooth. And listen, another thing about those two, Chris himself says, I've been doing travel since dinosaurs roamed the earth. Now, that means in real terms, he's been doing this since 1982. But the point is, he and Betty are special needs certified. And one of their favorite things to be able to do in the world is to help people who thought they couldn't travel safely or successfully anymore, to be able to do that. So in fact, last time, Lorri and Mike, what was cool is there was a 93-year-old lady who traveled by herself on our cruise. Think about that, 93. And so she was traveling by herself, but get what I'm saying? She was not traveling alone, right? Because she was there with our whole group and she had her own personal travel agents right there on board. So it doesn't get any better or any easier than that. And then we haven't even talked about the ship yet. Now, you guys know MSC Cruises just like we do, and have a really a soft spot in our heart for it because it's a wonderful cruise line. It's European based. It's actually the #3 cruise line in the world, little less known in the United States, but they have some, Italians know about design. These are the guys who come up with Ferraris like that. So we're sailing on the MSC Meraviglia, which is every report on that ship is like stunning visually, super comfortable. You just go look it up, see some of the pictures, helpingseniorstravelclub.com. Oh, what does all this add up to? It adds up to the absolute best time at sea. We're going sailing. Make sure you got those 2 options. Actually, you got 3 options. You can join us for the 2-night sailing, which has very favorable pricing, by the way. We were talking about it. You can't book an oceanfront room for what you can go on this 2-night cruise for. I mean, that's really what it amounts to. So you got to call Chris, and if that's all the time you got, don't miss it. But if you can afford the time, don't miss the 7-night cruise. It's going to be such a great time. So you want to get in touch, Helping Seniors Travel Club. I'm going to kind of give you guys the last word because you're going to kind of close it out on some kind of a musical note. Talk about the fun we're going to have with the singing and the dancing and the good times on board.
Oh, you've got to come and share this with us. It is the best time. MSC Cruises really knows how to do it, and the ship is gorgeous, and we will do everything we can to make your cruise the best it can be. We're looking forward to meeting you and seeing old friends, making new friends. We're just really excited. Come with us.
Looking forward to get my sea legs back.
Yeah. It will be 14 years since our last cruise. So we are very excited.
Yeah,
more than time. And I bet there's people who are watching this right now who are thinking like, I didn't get to go cruising before since before COVID. And that's a great point you brought up. Let me bring that up. One last thing before we close. Listen, everything has been relaxed. So number one, maybe because of COVID, you never got a chance to get your passport renewed and thinking like, wow, I don't have the time, or maybe not sure I want to spend the money to do that, or whatever the case is. The beautiful thing is, as long as you have a certified birth certificate and state issued ID, you're cleared to go. The second thing is something that did cause some challenges before is, it was 100% vaccinated mandate kind of thing. That's all been relaxed. So whether you've got full vaccination, you're good to go. If you don't have vaccination for whatever reason, you're still good to go. You just there's a few extra steps you have to take, but they will welcome you on board. And of course, they're going to keep us safe. They've got the protocols down. They've been sailing for now literally like a year and a half already. And they figured out how to make sure everybody stays safe at sea. So there's never been a better time to go sailing. You want to mark those dates down, January 6th, January 8th, or come with us for all 9 days and have a great time. Helping Seniors Travel Club. It supports the work of Helping Seniors. We're so looking forward to seeing you on board. So on behalf of Joe Steckler, our president and founder, Nancy Deerdorf, our operations director, we'll see you on board. Give Chris or Betty a call.